Hey guys, gals, and MPs, I'm here today with just a quick kind of video, like where I'm just going to go over the things that I've kept in my collection and the synths that I just think are worth keeping, at least. So these are going to be only synths that I'm keeping now are what I consider S-tier synths. So obviously the PolyBrute is among one of those. I did have a little bit of an issue with it, but it was a FedEx issue, and I seem to have those a lot around here. I think there's just something with the FedEx delivery in our area. They decided to two PolyBrutes so far. They've decided to just destroy the outer box, and that's the terrible thing about it. There's no inner box. It's all just out in the open, basically. And the first one had something loose in it. They had a screw loose in it, and my pitch bend wheel had some issues. And my new one, which actually has a worse looking box, seems to be completely fine, other than a noise issue with the OLED. But apparently I've found out that the OLED being noisy is kind of a common fault on the, it's not even a fault, it's just a common thing on the PolyBrute, unfortunately, but I'm going to live with it. It sounds good. I made sure that the oscillators were fine. I thought I had some oscillator issue a few days ago, but it was just because I haven't calibrated enough, and everything is cool. And yes, obviously the PolyBrute is what I've really wanted for a while, and it's definitely paid off in terms of sonic capabilities, and I just love the thing. The other synths that I ended up getting recently, or I should say synth in particular, is an Astrolab. And I know this was a very polarizing synth, from the get-go, but I thought it was pretty cool. Once I found out that the thing runs the Arturia collection basically natively on the instrument. It is a little limited in the fact that you can only run presets on it from your Arturia collection, and you can edit them if you have the entire Arturia collection, which is fine. But one thing that they do not make any mention of, you can't real-time edit on your computer and hear the changes on the Astrolab, which they alluded to that you could, or maybe they didn't, and it just kind of like they glossed that over because that's a feature it should have. It's not enough for me not to want it. It works great. The build quality is absolutely phenomenal. Came in perfect shape because they double boxed the thing. So, even FedEx, I don't think FedEx could kill that thing. I shouldn't say that too loud because they'll find a way. FedEx always finds a way to break things. They're good at that. The other synth that I'm keeping is the MPC Key 37. I ended up getting rid of the wave state, and the reason I'm getting rid of the wave state is because now I have an Astrolab and I have an MPC Key 37, and basically all I was using the wave state for was an overglorified, multi-sampled rompler. And the MPC Keys 37 and the Astrolab do a better job at that, at least for piano sounds and string sounds, mainly what I was using the wave state for. I definitely am keeping the Erica Synth Steampipe. It is just too unique, and it sounds absolutely awesome, so you'll be seeing that in future videos. And as everybody knows, I got rid of the multi-poly, but not because I didn't like the multi-poly. So you can see here, this is the exact reason. I ended up getting the module, which I'm super stoked about. I need to find a good MIDI cable that fits in the Astrolab easily. I should say just without too much force. I've noticed that every Arturia synth that I have, the MIDI ports are very, very tight for I'm using HOSA cables, and they just seem like I unplug and plug them in quite a bit, so I don't want to cause undue strain to the MIDI connector. So if anybody has any recommendations on decently priced MIDI cables, I've heard the Roland Black Edition cables are pretty good, so maybe I'll try those out. The HOSA ones tend to be fine practically on every other piece of hardware, but on Arturia hardware, it just seems to be very tight fit. So, yeah. The Korg Opsix, that's definitely staying. It's just too interesting of a synth again. It's an FM synth. I'm trying to keep one of every genre, I should say, of synth, or not genre, synthesis style of synth that does it very well, and I think the Opsix is one of the best FM synths on the market right now, at least for its size and power capabilities. The module, of course. Yes, I know people will say the Modi X or whatever, but I was not impressed by the sound of that synth, and the build quality is phenomenally poor. So what is it, the smaller one of it. Is it the 40 key or the 60 key ones? The smallest version, I think it's a 60 key version of that. You can get it locally, and I've tested it out multiple times. That thing does, I mean, granted, it's like $1,300 or so. It is not built well. The Astrolab is built phenomenal, which is surprising for its price point. It's metal construction. It has I did find out that the Nest thermostat on it has a glass cover over it, which is really cool. I thought it was going to be plastic, but it's metal and glass. So they just did a good job on the overall like quality of components, and it sounds great. Other than the issue of not being able to real-time edit, even if you have the software, it's not a big deal. But yeah, that thing is fantastic for the kind of things that I would use a Modi X for. So yeah, and the keybed I think feels better. So the Arturia keybed is actually really good on that thing. I like the Summit is definitely staying. There's nothing quite like the Summit. There are different FPGA synths out there, obviously, like the Udo. I was really thinking about an Udo, but I made my mind up with the PolyBrute, and I'm happy I did because that Steiner filter is really good. And I just like having it alongside a ladder filter, so that's really cool. But yeah, the Summit, just there's not much like a Summit out there. It's just the oscillators sound good, the filters sound good, the VCAs, the filter, and the overdrive section of it are all analog, and then followed by really where it counts on the digital side, the effects and the oscillators. So, and they're very good oscillators at that too. And then a new addition, obviously, is the MicroFreak. I had the MiniFreak, and yeah, I had one back a long time ago, but I really did like it. I believe after getting rid of the TO5, I wanted something with a SEM filter, and I believe this has one of the best sounding non-Oberheim SEM filters. There's only one caveat to that, and it does self-oscillate at the very high end, which a SEM filter shouldn't, but it has that bite and that sound, so it's really good. And that's kind of like all I really wanted to go over. Those are the synths I kept. Those are the synths I'm going to be using. I think they're all S-tier synths. If you're a Fire Emblem fan, they're Kagetsu tier synths. So yeah, it's just I don't want to spend time on something I don't like using, or you know, just in general. So I want to keep it limited to a small amount of synths. Well, it's not even a small amount, but you know what I mean. Especially with the Astrolab, I have so much versatility there for the old stuff. And with the multi-poly module, that is the only digital SEM filter emulation I've ever heard in hardware that I think is worth it, in my opinion. So yeah, you'll see those in videos upcoming. Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content and you want to stay tuned for what I show next with a lot of the content from these synths, then keep watching. And if you haven't subscribed to me, go ahead and subscribe. And the other thing I want to bring up, Erica Synths has a new delay pedal out, and I'm really interested in that. So if you're interested in that too, I might pick one of those up. All right, thanks again for watching. See you next time. Bye.